Good morning. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage, on your side, your wisdom guided oracle. And we're having coffee. Got my beautiful dolphin mug here, just simply because it's beautiful. And just maybe a little bit, I'd like to be in Hawaii today. I pretty much always would like to be in Hawaii. So, excuse me. How are you today? How is this part of your journey going? Um, you know, Monday was the inauguration. The world has not come to an end. So, yay for that. Um, things have not greatly shifted that we know, but things are shifting, and that's true of life. There's nothing guaranteed in this life except change, except shifting, and uh, railing against it and digging your heels in for change, for shift. Granted, all these shifting changes may not be what you wanted. Some of them might be what you wanted. Um, there is usually two sides. There's usually that balance point. And the truth is, finding the balance point is all about within you. You finding the balance in this ever-changing sea of life we are in. So the beautiful Dreams of Gaia Tarot, the card, the excuse me, overarching theme for today is choice. Is that not gorgeous? But it was, choice come in reverse. And this is that kind of that admonishment card going, you're not jumping into making the choice that stands before you because it's not what you want. It didn't work out like I wanted. This isn't how I wanted it to go. And I do not like the things in front of me. But your future lies in the things that are in front of you. And another card that's coming up, we'll talk a little bit more about, is the hero. And the hero makes hard choices. When you step into the understanding that you are co-creating here with the divine, the universe, the central sun, the great I am, whatever you call that, excuse me, you are making what choices present before you, you are making those present for you. And in the one that is the one that you're going to make, because you have to make a choice. Or you get drugged forward rather than walking forward. So the choices before you are not comfortable choices. That is when your greatest transformation will come, your greatest learning, your greatest options will present to you. But you have to have the courage and the trust in yourself that you are able to interact with the divine and get the guidance for just the next step. So once you take that fool's journey right off the cliff, the Fool Tarot in Fool's Card Tarot, they're always stepping off into the unknown. The truth is, the future is always unknown to us. We don't know what's going to happen. We have projected things there. We have listened to others, the media, tell us what horrible things lie in front of us and how awful everything is, because they are never going to tell you how wonderful the possibilities are, because that does not sell, that does not control. And that is absolutely what the media is about. It is control in every aspect. Great morning to you too, Susan. So you are at a choice point again, where you may be looking at things that aren't exactly what you want to do. You're kind of like that little kid having the tantrum as mom's trying to get them to move through the store, and they're screaming and yelling and being drug along by mom because we have to get going. And that's what the universe will do for you. Or you can be the active designer and going, okay, I am open, willing, ready. I'm going to trust that the universe has my back because I am always choosing expansion. I am always choosing to move towards the desire that I have in this life, that greatest inner desire. Maybe that's simple as being at peace with inside, finding more joy, more reasons to laugh. Laughter, years ago, I did a series of programs called 30 Days for 30 Minutes, and they became channeled after program 4. And Michael and Gabriel did the whole first program. And they are smartasses because I can be a smartass. I've kind of gotten myself into trouble a time or two because somebody opened the door and I just had to go in because there was something kind of sarcastically funny there. And I can generally find laughter in many situations, and ease and kind of the positive. An example, years ago, my friend's son, who has serious heart issues and has had since birth, ended up in the hospital. His heart had stopped. Luckily, they were at the Y. The nurse was there. A nurse was training right next to him. They got the AED. They had to bring him back, if I remember correctly, a couple times before they got to ER. They told his family, the 50% chance of him pulling out of this. And so we're all sitting around the little room waiting, just really just being there to support the family. And the awareness came for me. And this wasn't particularly funny, but it was the truth and the honest truth about who we were worried about. And the guidance came for me to speak through that, which would give the family greater peace in this process. I said, we have to remember who we're talking about. This young man has never once in his life done what the medical community said he would do. Never. He has been a miracle over and over and over. We've got to remember that. And you could just feel the relief. And then we started telling some funny stories about him and the family. And we shifted that energy. We had to. Well, we didn't have to. I chose to bring it in. The family chose to grab it and go with it. Still, and the young man totally recovered, living on his own again, living a lovely life, as this young man has done several times. But it could have stayed in that, oh my God, the fear, the angst, the desire for him, that very heavy energy. But we chose, I chose to be the one that it came through to lighten that a little bit because it came to me. Again, we could have stayed in. When my brother was killed, my sister was pretty dramatic in many ways, and it was awful. It was the second most awful death I've ever experienced. My sister was my first because we had much longer. We were very close. She was my compass. But it was horrendous because he was only 30. And I wanted to drive his car home from the hospital by myself. My dad insisted, no, my sister needed to go. And it was like, oh, please, no, I don't want this. So we're driving home and my sister is crying and she's moaning and she's saying, he was so good. He was so good. And I looked at her and I went, oh my God, do not make this worse than it is. No, he wasn't. He was a jerk. He was an asshole and he was funny as hell. And, we started talking about all of the fun about my brother instead of, just he would write down jokes so he could remember them because he loved to tell jokes and he was good at it. That was my brother. He loved to bring laughter in the world. But he was someone too I knew I could never trust with a secret because he would betray me. And I loved him. Larry and I had made our peace. I knew who he was. I knew the truth of who he was. He and my sister had not. And so she chose to dwell because she felt that was what she needed to do, is dwell in the chasm and pull forth what was not necessarily true. It's not that he was a bad man, because he was not. But again, he was what I call a shit disturber. He'd stir up stuff in the family for his benefit. And, growing up further and understanding the relationship between he and my father, I understood why. He needed to keep being chosen because he had a difficult relationship with my father. But I digress. So we are at a choice point, always at a choice point. The next card that came up was the 7 of Fire. And the choice, this is all about your inner knowing, your intuition, your connection with the divine. This is about staying in that energy so that you can trust you in the choice point. You know that you are taking the next best step. Does that mean it's going to be sunshine and roses? Probably not. There's going to be learning there for you. There's going to be the opportunity, which is often less than comfortable, and you get to keep choosing how you take that next best step. Good morning, Jeannie. That's a good case in point. My friend Jeannie here has been without her hot water heater for 4 months. Through no fault of her own. And it's just been this harrowing journey. And she just kept choosing to go to the high point and choosing to stand where she was and see things in the growth aspect of what she was living. And that, not an easy thing to do when you're in wintertime with no hot water in your house. So, we always are faced with the ease of. Now, we have two cards that are very similar. The next one is pilgrimage. Again, and a pilgrimage is always a journey to the divine. And, it's never it's never the 1,000-mile walk. The divine is always with you, but sometimes our physical must be challenged to expand our relationship with the divine. Sometimes we have to step into the fear, into the anxiety, in order to get the tools to learn how to deal with that anxiety, rather than just keep it at bay, keep it at bay, keep it at bay, so it never heals, because we never apply the medicine to the things within us, the shadows, the things that are a little bit difficult to work with. The next card that came up was the wasteland. That is where the shadow is. That is sometimes what happens in our lives that makes us feel like, it's too much. It's so difficult. The idea of moving on is impossible. That's where you dig deep into this intuitive aspect. You call on your guides, your angels, your companions, your friends in this life that are your tribe, the ones who will just listen to you and support you and love you, even though they can't change the situation for you. We all have instances where we get there, and we all get faced with instances where we can reach out and help someone who is there. And that is where the rubber meets the road. That is when you know who your tribe truly is. And sometimes it's not in all in physical ways. It is the willing to be there and listen, to just sit with you in your fear, your agony, your less than fun times. That is what the wasteland can bring. And, this looks a lot like California in LA right now. The burning away, the getting rid of all the extraneous stuff and getting you right down to the very core, the grace that you have inside. And, that's what many, and I'm so grateful to hear of these stories where people are journeying down to, oh my God, at least my family is safe. My dog is here with me. I lost him for a few days. That he's okay. We get down to the very essence of what is important in our life. And sometimes that happens only when we are, subject to life becoming a wasteland. Reclaiming the feminine. Reclaiming the just being, the receiving. This isn't womanhood per se. This is that energy that is the yin, the time in life when things have gotten very difficult and we just are ready to receive. And so you take that step off the mountainside, open, willing, and ready to be guided. And at the bottom, where sometimes we're a little beat up, that hand reaches out and goes, now turn around and look what's before you. And you can see far more than what you thought was going to be open to you, because you were willing to step into the difficult, the less than easy, the scary, the thing that produces anxiety. But what will happen is once you dust yourself up, that is actually the tools you're being given to learn to walk away from that darker energy, to heal from it, to actually walk through it on the hero's journey, on the willingness to take the courage to break through these energies that have held you captive. Because when things continually come up for you and you break through them and you walk to the other side, that is when you can see, and what is presented to you is the opportunity for true peace, balance, abundance, joy, and adventures like you never thought you could have. But you can't do it by sitting behind all the shadows that are there in front of you, because the shadows are your work in this lifetime. What is anxiety producing for you? Where is it stemming from? What is that thing you want to heal because it keeps holding you back from what you are desiring? It's that take a deep breath, put your head down, and run into the fire, just like that fireman does. He doesn't do it without tools, though. And that's he doesn't do it without his oxygen, his respirator, his turnouts that keep him more protected from the fire. He uses his tools, and that's what this reading is about. You have a choice to stand still and moan, stand still and allow those shadows to rule your life, or you have a choice right now to be your own hero, break through the fire, and come out the other side into the abundance, the land of milk and honey, that beautiful place that keeps calling you that you don't know how to get to. It is through the fire. I can guarantee you that. It is never going to be around it, because the fire is just going to expand. It's going to present to you over and over until you choose to learn what you desired to learn. You brought this. Nobody made you. Nobody created this in you. You chose to bring this specific energy up over and over again because it is something that you wanted to break through and learn and heal from in this lifetime. When you're willing to take the responsibility for what you have created, that is when real healing happens. You have a choice always. Nobody makes you do anything. But when you are open, willing, and ready, you can always make the choice in favor of you being your own hero. Because the truth is, no one else can do this for you. You can't make anyone else happy. You can't create life for anyone else in their energetic spiritual journey. We do create life for our children until they're able to do it themselves. And then this is kind of the difficult part with raising children, is they have their own path. And letting them have their own path is probably one of the hardest journeys a mother has, because she always wants to protect. She always wants to give them the right way to go, as she did as a child, or when they were a child. But they have their own path to walk that they choose and they chose before they came into this world. So you can keep shedding love on them. You can keep giving them the opportunity to step fully into their own wisdom, but you can't do it for them. Nor can you do it for your spouse or your best friend or your parents or your siblings. Sometimes you just have to walk off that cliff without them and leave them behind. That is, doesn't mean you have to get divorced. It means you do your own work and you let them do yours. That's, very much my guidance with my life partner, was to allow them to do what they need to do, because it just sets up animosity and a division between us. And the truth is, I don't know what's their wisest choice. I can think it may not be what I'm seeing, but I have to let them do theirs and offer them that right and that peace and that total loving acceptance of how they chose to finish walking through this world. In our age group, it's the last 20 yards of this journey. And so we can help them, we can love them, but we can't choose for them. and we have to allow them their choice. And that's really, what we in America and probably know more than any other country. Well, maybe not Europe, many parts of Europe, but that freedom to choose. Many of them have been taken away, but I can guarantee you far more have been left for us. And we are working to claim more of them as autonomous beings. So, what is your choice? What is before you that maybe causes you to take that breath, that gets your heart beating, going, I don't know, that just scares me. That just scares me. It produces some anxiety in you. What tools have come before you? Be open and willing and ready to receive more tools. There is always a choice. I think we are complete for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage, on your side, your wisdom guided oracle. Until we meet.